Hey, Will, Mark, Nelson. I don't know if Nelson looks like Nelson's still connecting, but I'm supposed to let you guys know it's a panel today. So there will be a lot of movement with the camera. There'll be a lot of stuff you may or may not see because Dean may not catch up with it too well. But there'll be a lot of chaos with the audio visual portion of today's broadcast.
Okay.
How are things going with you, man?
Good. How are you guys?
Well, I can't complain.
Yeah, sun's out. A little windy, but hey,
Sun's
60.
out, it's warm. Not gonna last, but it's warm.
Take it where we can get it, right?
You're right. Absolutely. All right, and Buzzy, I don't know if you probably weren't here when I first logged on here. There's going to be some chaos today with the cameras because it's a panel that they're consulting, so there may be a little movement going on. Just wanted to let you guys know. I'm muting and we're going live. He says as we proceed to not go live.
Keep hitting the bell in the wrong place. Welcome to Foundation Day, everyone. Hope you're having a good week. I'd like to ask Harry Reichert to come up and do the inspiration. Four-way test in the pledge.
Good day, all. Notwithstanding these last few warm days we've had, but if you're like me, you've probably grown tired of winter. In fact, it's cold, wet, dark days and long nights. And it sort of put me in a funk until I started thinking about it. And so I thought, well, it's one of the four seasons. We need to endure it. We need to accept it. And I ran across a passage recently that sort of put me in the right frame of mind, and maybe it will be you too. It's written by Donna Ashworth. She's a Scottish writer and a poet who shines a little bit of a different, meaningful, maybe even accepting light on winter. She writes, wintering. We may think ourselves lazy or flawed, yet our bodies are made of almost exactly the same elements as the stars. Our bone composition matches the coral in the seas, and we are all ruled by the moon and the sun, whether we like it or not. So no, we're not lazy. Nature is simply pulling us to slow like the life, the flora, and the fauna around us. It's not our moment to rise. It's winter. We are wintering, and we're right on time. Will you pray with me? Gracious God, we pray that you give us strength and patience during this winter season. We thank you for this gathering, food that is before us, and for the hands that prepared it. Bless us so that we can be a blessing to others. All this we pray in faith and thanksgiving. Amen.
Amen.
Now the pledge. Where is it?
Right behind you.
Oh, yeah. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now the four-way test. Is it true? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Thank you. Oh, can I have my agenda? Thank you. Everyone wants to steal my papers up here. Now with the introduction of guests, I'd like to have Michael Morrill come up to the podium. Please remember, we need to turn off our cell phones or silence them, and hello to everyone Zooming with us, and we hope to see your smiling faces soon. And also try to keep conversations to a minimum because it does carry in this room. Thank you so much. Michael.
It's always good to have guests. Today we only have one visiting Rotarian, but it's a good one. It's our former district governor, Keith Key from Lexington After Hours. Hi, Keith.
Hi, Dave.
Thanks for being here. We have a few guests of Rotarians. Paul Stanley, you introduce your guest for us.
My guest today is my better half, Margie Purack.
Yes, it is. Welcome. Susie Basham has brought a couple of guests. Susie?
Hello, these are guests today, but they have both put in their applications, so they're soon to be members. Susie Julie Quad Lucy. She's with Bluegrass Farm Charities, and we're thrilled to have her. And then Matt Tabb, he's with Messer Construction, and we're excited that he's coming on board as well.
Kelly Newman has brought a guest. Where are you, Kelly?
Oh.
Well, I'm not telling you.
No, you're not.
All right.
Today, my name is Jim Dunn, and it's my pleasure to introduce a future new member of Rotary, is Lucas McMartin.
And Tom Lester. Tom has a visitor.
Right
Oh,
there.
we're doing
Over
lottery.
there.
Yeah.
I made it this week. I understand we missed connections last week, but I am delighted to introduce once again Matt Noble, our son-in-law, and a future member of Rotary.
Thank you all for being here.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, all the Rotarians bringing guests, and welcome to all these potential new members. It's really exciting to see, because that is one of the most important things as Rotarians that we need to do, is take the time to invite someone to investigate joining our club and seeing if it's a fit for them. So thank you. Tom, come on up with the lottery. Maybe I'll get lucky this time. Probably not, but it's okay. It's a weekly contribution. First number. 0008. 0008. All right. Yes. Okay, and we're doing the Ace of Spades. Oh, Ace of Clubs. $452.
Only one card now.
Yeah. Ooh, two of diamonds, so close, but yes, so far. Thank you. Okay, the second number is 9969. 9969. Oh, Mr. Anderson. We trust you. All right, thank you for your donation. Thank you, Tom. All right, celebrating birthdays this week and next week. Just remember, next week we don't have a meeting. It's our third week of the month where we do Rotary differently. So we have Bridget Blum, Michael Stutland, Kay Hughes, Bruce Bell, Carrie Blades, Jeremy Maynard, Earl Arp, Bob Millward, Dan Stratton, Patrick Metzger, and Bob Showalter. Happy birthday, Rotarians. I want to ask you, I was given a notice earlier this week that a longtime Rotarian of our club recently passed away, Bill Perrine. Please keep his family in your thoughts and prayers, and it's my understanding services will be at the end of next week, so look for more information regarding that. I'd like to have Susan Adams come up to the podium to talk about our exciting February socials.
Good afternoon. We have a great group of people coming on Monday evening to the Palomar Sedona Tap House for the Murder Mystery Dinner Theater. And we also have room for more people. So we hope if you've been on the fence that you will shine your camera on that QR code on the table and buy your tickets. If you've been on the fence because of timing, we want you to know that the show doesn't start until 6:30. So while we say 6 o'clock, that's so that anytime between 6 o'clock and about 6:20, you can arrive, you can get your table, which tables are tables of 6 this year. And you can order your drinks, order your dinner, and begin your salad and dinner conversation, and then the meal will, or the show will start at 6:30. So you do have a little more time if you were wondering if you could get there by 6 o'clock. So we hope to see you on Monday night, and then on the tables, you'll also see that it is trivia night, the end of the month on our 5th Thursday. So that's another event where we can get together and socialize and have some fun. Thank you.
Thanks, Susan. Thank you, Susan. You guys have done a great job. Now, as I mentioned, we've got doing Rotary differently. I need my glasses. Next week. And so on Monday, we do have our mystery dinner. We still need volunteers to do job interviews on Monday in the morning for Kentucky Refugee Ministries Wednesday. Okay. Wednesday morning. Okay. So if you are interested, please see Chris Campbell. We also have some exciting things that are going to happen on Monday that Andrew's going to talk about. And then we have Women Leading Kentucky on February 15th at noon at the Signature Club. If you have any questions, see Alicia or Jen. Yep. And then, and then the God's Pantry Backpack is on Thursday, the 15th at 1 o'clock on Winchester Road. If you have any questions, see Susie Batch. I have 2 announcements. One, everyone's probably wondering why I brought this.
Yeah, well,
I've had 3 people try to, thought it was a gift for them. On the 22nd, we have Max Blankenhorn coming to talk to us about bourbon, and in particular, this bottle. This is our barrel peck and fundraiser for the Rotary Club, and we will have a tasting at the end of the meeting if you want to taste a little sample before you buy, but there will be bottles available for purchase at $100. It's 120 proof. It tastes really good. So hopefully you'll participate in this fundraiser. The second thing, yeah. The second thing I'm so excited to announce, I've been working on this, and with the help of Gary and then Peggy, we finally got it done. How many people in this room participate in Kroger Plus card and have points that you use for gas or get extra things off? Well, guess what? I don't know how many of you actually realize this, but Kroger gives money to charities based on points that are accumulated. You're not giving up your own points, but they do some matching to charities every year. And the way it works, you have to sign up as a participant every August, and it picks that charity for the year until the end of July. And then in August, you sign up. You can continue to pick the same charity. Well, the endowment has been registered as a charity. So you guys, it might be nickels and dimes, but hey, it adds up. So please bring your card or ID or something, and we'll help you. If you haven't gone online and actually created your Plus online account, you might want to do that. But if you need some help, we'll try to help you get signed up so you can pick the endowment as a recipient from some of the $3.6 million or whatever it is that Kroger gives out every year. So we appreciate your support on that. Let's see. We don't have our new member. She's out ill today. And so now, without further ado, I'd like to introduce Andrew Shenkan and have him come to the podium to talk about the foundation. He is our foundation chair for this year. Thank you, Andrew.
thank you, President Kim. You know, I know the last thing on your mind today was listening to me. And because of that, I'm going to be a moderator today. Chris Campbell is already agreeing to that. Okay. But I'm here to talk. Today is the Rotary Club of Lexington's official Foundation Day, where we're gonna shine a little light on our Rotary Foundation and our participation here in Lexington, especially some leadership. And we will also recognize some Paul Harris Fellows today and also a major donor again, as we did last time. The foundation, and I put together a group of, and you'll see these wonderful Mardi Gras throws that we have on. This is my thoroughbred race team. And they're going to be able to share their personal stories about their foundation journey. And I hope that's going to be impactful, that by the end of this presentation, we'll also have an ask. And we're going to make it a little fun for you this year, because that's why next week is Mardi Gras. And in preparation for that, it'll end with a little something extra, which I like to call a little lagniappe. So let's get this candle lit. Rotary Foundation, what is it? You know, when I came up here and transferred to a Rotary Club, I knew what the foundation was, but all of a sudden I was, you know, as it relates to this club, we also had other opportunities, whether it's the Neil Main Society, or other opportunities that came along the way. And I just wanted to tell you that when you give to the Rotary Foundation, this is a hardworking dollar that comes actually back to this district and to this club, and I'll explain how that works. And so we call it the annual fund share. Make sure, there we go. The annual fund share, and it's the main funding source of the foundation programs. The gift empowers Rotarians to carry out sustainable, word is sustainable, service projects, not only in this community, but also around the world. And I think that's pretty powerful. I mean, for people who are looking ways to help their fellow communities, and other places that you would not get the opportunity to help, this is a wonderful foundation tool to be able to do work across into other places where Rotary is already doing great work. So I'll explain a little bit how that works as we go along. So the contributions that come in through the annual fund actually are divided between the World Fund, as I said, doing work around the world, and also our district designated fund. Our district, 6740, made up of a lot of other Rotary clubs within this district, are all doing the same thing. So our district is building up dollars to be able to be utilized back into our own district and also into our own clubs and community. So whether it's the World Fund with priority grants and programs that are available to all districts, or the districts that are using it here directly here in Kentucky, or here in Lexington, this is a hardworking dollar. It's a boomerang dollar. What does that mean? That means it goes out and it comes back. And that is done through mechanisms of grants. And the good part about the Rotary Foundation, there isn't a lot of fat there. So at least 90% of what's given to the foundation stays in the foundation and doesn't go to build infrastructure or people or that. So 90% of the dollars that are given stay as working dollars for the fund. Again, in our World Fund, global grants and programs, and Polio Plus sits inside of the foundation, but it is a separate fund that is basically dedicated to the eradication of Rotary. So when you give to polio, excuse me, my mistake. Should have hit that bottle. Maybe there's still time. No, anyway, so for the eradication of polio, those are designated funds that are restricted to that. They couldn't come back to us. It just goes directly to that project. So that's within our world reach and Rotarians like yourself. And we had a great project earlier in the year where we did a little ride for Polio Plus, and we had a lot of club members who actually contributed to that opportunity. Those dollars will continue to help us eradicate polio around the world. But in the district of funds, grant writing is actually kind of important. This club participates in this. We have had projects supported not only through our district grants, but also in global grants. Global Grants is teaming up with another club around the world who is also working together, Rotarians working together, funds are matched, and that project has to be sustainable. I'll give you an example. When I was in Lafayette during my term as president, we started a kindergarten program in a small country of East Timor. We didn't just start the program, we trained teachers who would actually run that program, and that's the sustainability of it. Not just a one-time shot, but something that sustains forward. So that's a good example of how a global grant, how we could participate as a club and also participate with another Rotary club. And then obviously, district grants are things that we are totally focused on here, doing here as a club. We ask the district, it comes back, our money comes back, it's matched, and we can fund a program that we have written the grant for, and it'll have to be a sustainable program. I said this would be a conversation, so I'm going to stop here for a second. I'm going to invite Tom Ashford to come up.
I do if you want.
Okay, and he can stay right there to talk a little bit about his experience with the Rotary Foundation. Tom, please do.
Good afternoon. I grew up right here in Lexington in the 1950s. As a matter of fact, we were the very first family to live in Metaphor. Metaphor quickly became one of the fastest growing subdivisions in Lexington at the time. And they brought lots of new kids whose parents were transferred here from all over the United States. Lots of new friends. Unfortunately, some of those kids started disappearing. Rumor had it they'd gotten polio. I never got to see some of them ever again. And when others did get home from the hospital months later, they were not allowed to come outside because they might spread the disease. There was hope when we received the vaccine that would prevent us from getting polio. No one I knew wanted another shot, let alone the 3 that it took. But our parents insisted that we get them. The shots worked, and in 1979, the United States was declared polio-free. In 1981, I joined the Rotary Club of Lexington and met several Rotarians who had survived polio. Most had been either in Cardinal Hill or in Shriners Hospital for Children. In 1985, it was announced that Rotary International had immunized all the children in Puerto Rico, and it was declared polio-free. But what about the rest of the world? It was estimated there were about 350,000 new cases of polio each year and increasing. Rotary International announced a fund drive with a goal of $120 million, which they thought would be enough to immunize every child in 125 countries. Past District Governor Walter Maddox of the Rotary Club of Lexington, Kentucky, was appointed the chair of that fund drive. The following year, the Rotary International Convention in Philadelphia, Walter announced that the Rotarians worldwide had supported this program unanimously and donated not $120 million, but over $240 million. Rotary then worked with UNICEF and the World Health Organization, who would administer the vaccines, while Rotarians would raise more money if needed. The effort was expected to be completed in 3 years. Well, in 1991, I was asked to chair a district fundraising committee for the second polio fundraising campaign. Fortunately, we exceeded the goal established by Rotary by 115%. And what wasn't easy, as our district 6740 is one of the poorest districts in the country. The program is now called Polio Plus. It's now vaccine included other vaccines to prevent several other childhood diseases. Well, we've been at this fight for over 35 years now, but the end is in sight. There was a great deal of optimism in January of 2022 when it was announced there were only 6 new cases of polio in the world during the year 2021. After all, there have been 140 new cases the year before, all just in Afghanistan and Pakistan. But then the next year, 2022, Mozambique had 8 new cases, to go with the 22 from Afghanistan and Pakistan for a total of 30 new cases. Now, the good news, last year, 2023, only 12 new cases, all from the 2 endemic countries, Afghanistan and Pakistan, with 99.9% there. Again, what about the rest of the world? Well, to declare the world polio free, we must not have any cases of wild polio virus for 3 years. Each year, millions of children are still being immunized to prevent both the wild polio virus and the circulating vaccine-derived polio virus. At this point, Rotary has raised over $2.6 billion to eradicate polio. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation is still matching Rotary 2-1, up to $100 million each year. And last year, the Gates Foundation pledged an additional $1.2 billion because they know that no child is safe until the disease is eradicated. I've lived in 6 neighborhoods since leaving Metaphor. There have been lots of children in each, but to my knowledge, none have been lost to a disease. Right now, in the U.S., we're very fortunate. It's still vulnerable as polio is just a plane ride away from most U.S. cities. Personally, I give the Rotary Foundation each year, and 50% of my donation is to eradicate polio. So my grandchildren and the children of the world will not be subjected to polio and the possibility of losing some of their friends to that terrible disease. I hope you'll join me in contributing to this huge eradication effort, which is unduplicated by any other organization in the history of the world.
Thank you, Tom. Let's talk about the grants that went out last Rotary year. Almost 1,900 grants were issued that equated to $98 million. That's working together, folks. If that's not what Rotarians can do, we can move a mountain with that kind of money. And where were they done? Well, 473 became district grants, or 26 million of it. 324 addressed a disaster that happened around the world, and we've had plenty. So there was another 15 million. 1,092 were in terms of global grants, or 55 million. And then there was one program of scale, which is one donation equating to $2 million. Now, we have 7 areas of focus. Where do these grants go and what do they address? 7 things. And I will tell you that all of them are great. And through this mechanism, that's where the grants are dedicated into one of these 7 things. So when we do a program, it's going to meet one of these 7 things. What are the 7 things? Basic education and literacy, maternal child health, peace and conflict resolution, water and sanitation, supporting the environment, community and economic development, and disease prevention and treatment. Those 7 focus areas is what your money goes to address. And I got to tell you, we do a lot of programs, again, in terms of Rotary, almost 1,900 grants working hard in one of those areas. I'm gonna let Sharon, share her story, and then I'll come back and show you, a little bit how that was distributed, last year.
So I joined Rotary in 2008. And I, as an RN, I was interested in the polio program. I stood in line as a second grader in 1954 and got my shot. And now, of course, they have drops in their mouths. That's really great. As a student nurse, I was taken to the basement of Jackson Memorial Hospital to be shown an iron lung. Fortunately enough, we don't use iron lungs anymore. And we're much more advanced as far as breathing. But what I want to talk to you about is district grants. Our club has been so active. When our current district governor, Gene Clark, was a member of this club, our international committee headed by Jack McAllister was able to form a grant through the district for us to go to Rameshwaram, India. And it was a very impressive program to help the children in that area. So a few years ago, Jack and his international committee, while I was president of our club, decided that we would have a reverse grant. And the grant was written, and the reverse grant is for water and sanitation, underwater and sanitation for Eastern Kentucky. And it's Leslie County is the county that we identified as needing sanitation through septic tanks and other ways. The reverse grant was because we were able to go to clubs in India who have contributed to our district for this grant. So that's why it's called a reverse grant. We have been getting the funds in and they go to the district, and some of those funds that are being kept in Chicago at the main office will be sending those funds to us when we are ready to begin the project. It's Jack McAllister, who's been doing a lot of homework. There are a lot of requirements to be able to follow the grant through. So this club should be very proud of our efforts to be able to take sewer and water to some of the areas of Eastern Kentucky. Also, there were emergencies that happened. You remember the floods in Eastern Kentucky, and also the tornadoes in Western Kentucky. Rotary was able to send some funds for those emergencies as well. So I feel that district grants are very important, and your funds that you give will be coming back to us in very needy ways.
Thank you, Sharon. I think this next slide really shows how those grants were distributed by each one of those 7 areas. It's not surprising to me, as you heard Tom talk a little bit about polio, that almost half of the money in grants deals with disease eradication. I think a world without disease is a great world. And you're right, Tom, when you see people disappear, that is sad. Not only for the families that it's affected, but to the communities that they thrive in. So for half to almost 46% or 46% of the money went to deal with disease eradication during the Rotary year of 22-23. The next, and we mentioned water and sanitation, went to water and sanitation projects, 18%, little less than 20. And then economic, we talked about economic development, 10%, 9% for education and literacy, 8% for either maternal or child health needs, and then the last 2 categories of 5% to the environmental, and the last being 4% for peace eradication. That's where your money's going. So again, these are wonderful focus areas, and that's how it's been distributed, at least as it was last year. I'd like to see if that changes as we go forward. I now want to give Kim, President Kim, an opportunity to talk about her experience with the foundation. And she has a slide.
I joined the club in 2016, and part of the reason that I really was interested in becoming a Rotarian was the ability to get involved volunteering and giving back here locally, which I thought was wonderful. I've always been involved in different organizations and feel that that's important. And also then kind of nationally, you know, we can spread our wings a little bit, do things regionally or throughout the state of Kentucky. But one of the big factors for me was that impact globally. I had never been really involved in an organization that had such a far-reaching opportunity to get involved. Now, unfortunately, I have not been able to go on a mission type thing and get involved and go to India and participate in that. I look forward to that being one of my bucket list things. But I did go to the 2023 International Convention in Melbourne. Thank you for enabling me to do that. And I was in awe of the number of people there and how you meet so many people that have this common goal. There's 25,000 people at the convention, and you find out someone's from Rotary, it's like you knew them all your life. They start talking to you like you're their best friend. It was wonderful. And going through the House of Friendship, you get to see some of their booths are all set up, and there's so many projects there and details. And so you really got to see that just a little bit of money can make a big difference. And, you know, Rotary International asks us as Rotarians at a minimum to do $30 a year for polio and $100 a year to the annual fund share. Because that it allows if every Rotarian does that, it allows the foundation to continue to do good work, as Andrew has shared. So becoming a Paul Harris Fellow says that you've given up to $1,000, and Andrew will be talking about that. But I felt it was important for me to get involved because it's why I joined. And I wanted to have that impact. So I would encourage each of you to get involved if you haven't. It's never too late. And it was really, I took pride in the fact that I thought, oh, I helped with some of that. So anyway, thank you, Andrew.
Thank you, Kim. Speaking about recognition, in honor of your support to the foundation, there are certain levels that you reach as donors. When you give $100 a year, in a year, you're called a sustaining member. When you reach $1,000 cumulative, you become a Paul Harris Fellow. When you give, when the club gives, this is one of my, I think we think this is easy, but it's actually pretty hard. And when you're in a big club, it makes it even harder, is that when the club gives, when each club gives $100 per capita, that means every member would equate to $100 or more, and all dues paying members give at least $25 in a year, you become an every Rotarian every year club. That's the ask. What Kim talked about, $30 to Polio Plus and $100 to the annual fund, that to me, you have done your job. And there are Rotarians that do much higher contributions than that. There are some who are working towards that. But I just love the fact that if you've given at least $1 to any of these projects, you're working towards showing that you are supporting the efforts that we are. We ask for more. I think in our standings here in the community, we can do that. And so I will give you the ask at the end here, and I hope to get out on time. And so I will move forward. There are other levels, and we're gonna celebrate some of our own recognitions here in the club at this present time. And so for the first one, we have a Rotarian who has become a Paul Harris Fellow for the first time. That. So I would like to recognize Chris Campbell. Chris, your contribution to the Rotary Foundation is really helping us in our 7 focus areas. So on behalf of our club and the Rotary Foundation, we want to welcome you as our newest Paul Harris Fellow. What's that?
You want to have a group picture?
Yeah, we'll have a group picture right after. So if you just remain, we'll get that done. Not with us today, but who is also going to be recognized, and we will make sure that we do his award presentation at a future time, is Jim Richardson, who will be receiving Paul Harris +2 in his year, but he is not here today. Who is here today is President Kim Johnson. And Kim, I'd like to present you your Paul Harris +3. Thank you for making a valuable contribution on behalf of the Rotary Foundation. Ladies and gentlemen, President Kim, Paul Harris +3. Also with us today and on stage, Sharon Reed will be receiving her Paul Harris +8. Sharon, thank you for your contribution to the Rotary Foundation. Your unselfish gift is greatly appreciated by all of us here and abroad. Which brings me to an incredible milestone. And I got to tell you, I received one of these earlier in the year when Harding and I both became major donors. But today we have a major donor +2. And that is $20,000 in contribution to the Rotary Foundation. That is what I call major commitment. So I'd like to call forward Paul Stanley. You get a lot of stuff, Paul. Paul, you get a lot of stuff, but as a major donor, you are among a dedicated group of humanitarians who have committed themselves to helping others less fortunate. This special group of people who are changing the lives of children, young people, and adults through a legacy of hope and an appreciation of this investment in the future, we wanted to give you this crystal and lapel pin with 2 diamonds on it. I'm wearing one with one. He's got 2. Because 2 is much better than 1. But on behalf of our club, the district, and Rotary Foundation, I want to say thank you very much to that very group. I'd like to give you an opportunity before we take our picture. Thank you, everybody.
I've just now been asked to say a few words. I think today's program was excellent. I think everyone involved did a great job. I think it's important to give to Rotary Foundation. It is a 4-star foundation. It's an A+. Like was mentioned, 90% of your money goes back into that program that you're supporting. So along the way, whatever you can do, I think that it will help support many of these programs and help others throughout the world, not only here, but throughout the world, that people that are strangers we don't know. And I think that's very important in our lives. Thank you.
We can take our picture. Want to take a picture of our,
Yeah.
okay.
You're the foundation chair.
I am.
You
Oh,
need to be in the
you want me to?
I didn't think it was about me.
Yeah.
It's always about you.
Oh, we don't want to drop it. There you go.
I said there'd be an ask. There is one. So how do you support our Rotary Foundation and get some lagniappe? What do we know lagniappe is? A little something extra. In your bulletin in the wheel horse, there is a page that has a QR code on it. I'm not gonna read it to you, but I will tell you, I would be very remiss if I'm not gonna recognize my bride all the way from Lafayette, Louisiana. My Cajun bride has agreed, or was voluntold, I must be honest, that wouldn't have passed the four-way test, that she was going to whip up something. So for the ask, if you give $100 today, or have already given your $100 in the current year to the foundation, to the annual fund, you can go on the QR code, and for $10 a little extra to help offset the cost of the food and the preparation and containers. I come to find out those don't come free. But anyways, you'll get 16 ounce of authentic. Was that the word you wanted me to say? Authentic. Not that store-bought kind, but the kind that only somebody from what we will call Acadiana or Lafayette, Louisiana can provide. And let me tell you, I eat well at home, folks. So I can guarantee you, I have already taste tested one batch. It was top notch, and she says she's going to make it even better for our fellow Rotarians who participate today. So support the Rotary Foundation. Get a little something extra. You can do it online. Peggy has set up a way, just like you would buy a lunch. You can, there's two lines, one to support the foundation for your $100, and then right below it is a line for your offering for a little something extra, and get yourself some Cajun jambalaya.
How do they get it?
How do you get it? You will, on Monday, if you do this before Friday, due by Friday tonight, or today. On Monday, we will have it ready to be picked up. Time enough to celebrate Mardi Gras on Fat Tuesday, which is the day after. For whatever reason you can't make it, please let us know. We'll try and keep it either frozen or whatever, but I would hope we can get it out, because our house only has limited areas for preservation of food. Otherwise, I'm gonna eat it. So, truth be told, again, between 4 and 6. Thank you. Thank you. Guys, this will be well worth your while. So please, it is a pleasure. We tried to do something different this year. We tried to have a personal conversation about our foundation. And then we tried to make it a little bit fun around Mardi Gras. And again, our focus is on the giving. So thank you to all of our presenters today, and also to our new Paul Harris Fellows and major donor too. That's why we do it, to help others. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Andrew. And if you are going to the murder mystery dinner and maybe want to have someone bring you your jambalaya, Susie and I can work that out. So you need to let us know. But with that, we are adjourned, and thank you so much.
You got it? Didn't override.